Chapter 19. Social Media Identity Compression. The Shrinking Frame. Modern artist identity is no longer introduced on a stage, in a magazine spread, or through a full-length music video. More often, it appears first as a thumbnail, a profile icon, a 3-second clip, a cropped selfie, a looping gesture, or a single outfit moving through a vertical feed. This is social media identity compression, the process by which a complex artist image must become recognizable in extremely small, fast, fragmented formats. A performer may spend months developing an album world, a stage design, a fashion direction, and a persona. But on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, X, or streaming previews, that entire system may be reduced to one visual signal: green hair, oversized clothing, a ski mask, a cowboy hat, chrome sunglasses, red lighting, a school uniform silhouette, a specific dance gesture, or a tightly framed facial expression. In older media environments, identity could unfold slowly. Album covers, interviews, music videos, award show performances, and magazine editorials gave artists space to explain themselves. Today, the visual system must often communicate before the viewer knows the song, the genre, or the name. The question is no longer only, what does this artist look like? The more urgent question is, can this artist be recognized instantly when reduced to a moving stamp? Compression as a branding problem. Social platforms reward images that are legible at speed. A user scrolling a feed may give a video less than 1 second before deciding whether to continue. In that environment, identity design behaves less like traditional styling and more like logo design. A strong artist image must survive compression in several ways. Scale compression. The artist must remain identifiable when reduced to a small circle, square, or vertical crop. Profile pictures, comment icons, playlist covers, and tagged posts all shrink the body into a symbol. This is why silhouettes matter so much. Billie Eilish's early oversized proportions, The Weeknd's hair and red suit eras, Bad Bunny's sunglasses and shaved heart details, and Lil Nas X's cowboy futurist costuming all functioned well under scale compression. Even when the full styling language was not visible, the outline or key accessory carried identity. Time compression. On social media, identity often appears in fragments: 3 seconds of walking backstage, half a chorus, one gesture, one facial reaction, one transition. Artists with strong movement codes benefit here. Doja Cat's facial play, Rosalia's hand choreography, BTS's synchronized precision, and Ice Spice's repeated hair and gesture combinations show how movement can become a visual signature. A look is not only worn, it is activated. Context compression. A social media post may remove the artist from the intended context. A stage outfit designed for a tour may appear as a blurry fan clip. A fashion editorial may be reposted without caption. A music video still may circulate as a meme. A resilient identity system can survive this loss of context. It does not depend entirely on explanation. The viewer does not need to read the caption to sense the artist's world. Emotional compression. Perhaps the most important form is emotional compression. The audience should feel the identity immediately. Softness, danger, rebellion, luxury, intimacy, chaos, humor, melancholy, or spiritual intensity must be readable before the concept is intellectually understood. Frank Ocean's understated image compresses into privacy, taste, and emotional distance. Travis Scott's visual world compresses into dystopian youth spectacle. Olivia Rodrigo's early identity compressed into teenage heartbreak sharpened by punk pop styling. The strongest artists reduce not only their visuals, but their emotional promise. The profile picture test. A practical way to understand compression is the profile picture test. If an artist's image is reduced to a circular icon, what remains? For many emerging artists, the answer is, not enough. The image may be attractive, but generic. The lighting may be good, but not distinctive. The outfit may be fashionable, but not proprietary. The face may be visible, but the identity is not. A compressed identity needs at least one anchor. That anchor may be a hairstyle, a color, a silhouette, an accessory, a facial expression, a posture, a graphic symbol, a recurring environment, a texture or material, a specific emotional atmosphere. SCA's visual identity, for example, often compresses through softness, natural hair, earth tones, and a sensual, introspective atmosphere. Central C compresses through streetwear minimalism, athletic styling, and cool restraint. Pink Pantherus compresses through Y2K references, casual intimacy, and a low-pressure digital native presence. None of these artists needs to wear the exact same thing every time. Compression does not require repetition without change. It requires controlled recognition. The profile picture test asks, if the audience sees only a small fragment, do they still know whose world they have entered? The feed as a contact sheet. An artist's social media grid is not simply a promotional tool. It is a contact sheet of identity decisions. When viewed post by post, each image may seem casual. But when viewed together, patterns emerge: color, temperature, pose, language, distance from the camera, styling density, humor level, polish, vulnerability, and relationship to luxury. Some artists use the feed as a diary. Others use it as a campaign board. Some blur personal and professional images until the distinction disappears. Others maintain strict visual control, releasing only highly produced materials. Neither approach is automatically superior. What matters is alignment. An anti-star identity often benefits from informal images, low lighting, imperfect framing, and ordinary locations. Too much polish may weaken the illusion of authenticity. An industrial pop identity, by contrast, may need glossy repetition, coordinated styling, and campaign-like precision. K-pop systems demonstrate the power of controlled feed architecture. Individual members may have distinct style codes, but the group image remains coordinated through color, pose, set design, and release timing. The feed becomes a stage before the stage. Hip-hop artists often use feeds to signal status, territory, affiliation, and lifestyle. Luxury objects, cars, jewelry, backstage environments, and street settings function as identity markers. The compression is not only visual, it is social. The post says who the artist is connected to, what world they dominate, and what kind of power they perform. Indie and alternative artists often resist this logic, but resistance also becomes a system. Grain, blur, handwritten graphics, thrifted clothes, private rooms, and awkward poses can become just as coded as luxury fashion. Compression through repetition. Social media punishes confusion and rewards patterns. Repetition is therefore one of the most important tools in compressed identity. Repetition does not mean sameness. It means recurring signals that teach the audience how to recognize the artist. An artist may repeat a color palette across releases, a type of jacket or shoe, a hairstyle or beauty detail, a pose or camera angle, a specific editing rhythm, a phrase, symbol, or emoji, a lighting mood, a setting, such as cars, bedrooms, clubs, deserts, rooftops, or backstage corridors. Over time, these signals become shorthand. The audience learns to identify the artist before the logo appears. This is especially important for artists who operate across multiple platforms. A TikTok clip, an Instagram carousel, a Spotify canvas, a YouTube thumbnail, and a tour poster may all have different formats, but they should feel related. The viewer should not experience 5 separate brands. The compressed identity must travel. The danger of overcompression. While compression is necessary, it can also become a trap. When an artist is too easily reduced to one visual gimmick, the identity may become brittle. A single hairstyle, mask, color, or costume can generate recognition quickly, but it may also limit growth. The audience may resist evolution if the artist has trained them to recognize only one symbol. This is the problem of overcompression. A masked artist, for example, gains immediate mystery and recognizability, but must eventually answer how the mask evolves. A color-based identity may be powerful for one album cycle, but can feel restrictive if used indefinitely. A viral outfit may define an artist faster than the music does, creating a visual prison. Strong identity systems solve this by separating the core from the surface. The surface can change: clothing, hair, sets, filters, styling trends. The core remains stable: attitude, emotional tone, posture, world logic, archetype. Bad Bunny can move through streetwear, high fashion, drag references, wrestling spectacle, and minimal styling because the core identity, irreverent freedom, cultural confidence, sensual humor, and masculine fluidity, remains intact. Lil Nas X can move from cowboy camp to celestial pop armor to religious provocation because the core is theatrical disruption. Beyoncé can shift eras dramatically because the core is command, discipline, glamour, and mythic control. Compression should not flatten an artist. It should clarify them. Platform-specific compression. Each platform compresses identity differently. TikTok. TikTok privileges motion, immediacy, humor, participation, and repeatable gestures. Identity must be performable. A look becomes stronger when it can be imitated, stitched, danced, reacted to, or memed. Here, facial expression, styling contrast, and movement hooks matter as much as polished imagery. Instagram. Instagram privileges curation, beauty, lifestyle, and visual consistency. Identity is judged through the grid, the carousel, the story, and the profile picture. It rewards atmosphere and taste. For artists, Instagram often functions as the main showroom of aesthetic control. YouTube. YouTube compresses identity into thumbnails, titles, video stills, and long-form presence. The face, color contrast, and central visual concept become critical. A music video must read as a story before the viewer clicks. Streaming platforms. Streaming compresses identity through cover art, artist images, canvas loops, and playlist thumbnails. Here, visuals must work beside hundreds of competitors. A cover that looks strong as a poster may fail as a small square. Legibility becomes essential. X and text-based platforms. Even text platforms carry visual identity through profile photos, memes, tone, screenshots, and recurring language. Persona becomes graphic through speech. An artist's humor, conflict style, and posting rhythm become part of the image. Designing for the screenshot. One of the most useful principles for modern artist identity is this: design for the screenshot. A screenshot is the new poster. It is how fans circulate moments, freeze expressions, create memes, and build mythology. If a performance, music video, or social clip contains no strong still image, it loses cultural portability. A screenshot-friendly identity has clear framing, distinctive styling, expressive posture, memorable color, emotional tension, symbolic props or settings, a face or silhouette that reads instantly. This does not mean every image must be polished. Some of the most powerful screenshots are chaotic, funny, vulnerable, or strange. What matters is that the image can detach from its original source and still carry meaning. Social media identity is built from these detachable fragments. The audience collects them, reposts them, edits them, jokes with them, and uses them to explain the artist to others. In this sense, fans become secondary designers of the identity system. The compressed identity checklist. For creators building their own visual system, social media compression can be tested through a simple checklist. Can the artist be recognized in a thumbnail? Is there a repeatable silhouette? Is there a clear emotional tone? Does the identity work in motion? Does it survive bad fan footage? Can it be understood without caption? Does the feed show pattern rather than randomness? Are platform differences respected? Is the visual system flexible enough to evolve? Can fans imitate, screenshot, or remix it? If the answer to most of these questions is no, the identity may be too dependent on full context presentation. It may work in a studio shoot but fail in the feed. Modern visibility is not granted to the most complex image. It is granted to the image that can be compressed without disappearing. From image to signal. Social media has transformed artist identity from a collection of visuals into a signal system. Every post emits signals: genre, class, mood, ambition, sexuality, humor, cultural affiliation, fashion literacy, emotional availability, and distance from the audience. The artist's task is not to control every interpretation, which is impossible. The task is to make the strongest signals intentional. In the compressed environment, vague identity becomes invisible. But overly rigid identity becomes predictable. The strongest modern artists build systems that are simple enough to recognize and deep enough to sustain attention. They understand that a feed is not separate from a stage, and a profile image is not separate from an album campaign. All of it belongs to the same visual ecosystem. Social media did not reduce the importance of artist image. It intensified it. It forced identity to become faster, sharper, smaller, and more portable. The modern artist must be able to fill an arena. But first, they must survive the thumbnail.